So today is a big one, unexpectedly big one. Thanks to good friend of the channel, Ultra Megatronus. I cannot thank him enough for kind of sending this along my way. It's a bit of a story with this guy, but we are going to spend some time today looking at, the Kingdom Ark. Oh yeah, baby. And that's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all of the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that, man, in the description down below. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button, man, right here on YouTube to become a channel member. And this is the box for the Ark. I wasn't sure I was going to end up getting this. I didn't need it. I said that my swan song was Scorponok. I said, though, that this guy I thought was more worth the US price than the Canadian price. And there is a significant difference. Is he actually? Well, we're going to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And so in a very unexpected turn of events, thanks to Ultra Megatronus, we are having a look at the Transformers Kingdom Titan class Ark. I wasn't sure about this guy. I said that I was not in for him for the asking price in Canada. I thought that the Canadian price was too high. I thought that the American price was probably in the ballpark. Is it? My understanding of the American price is that it's been $159. Now, some people have said that it's been $169 plus tax, but I don't know if that's true. I know in Canada, the price was $249 plus tax, and in my neck of the woods, that pretty much ends up teetering on about $300. So, yeah, again, like, I'm not 100% sure what the pricing is, so we'll see if I think it's kind of worth, you know, the Titan labeling, so to speak, as we go through. But of course, before we can look at the Ark and his instructions, we have to take a quick look at the packaging first. And it is quite the packaging, really depicting two scenes. One, where Megatron has been caught by the Ark in his robot mode, and the Ark itself, well known as the Ark, or Teletran 1 if you watch the Kingdom series, also bears a striking resemblance to the Last Autobot. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But behind it, in the background, we have the Ark into the volcano, though I'm not going to lie, man, that volcano looks like it's ready to erupt. It looks a lot more alive than what we ever saw in G1, but the Ark is into the volcano. It wraps around here on the, here on the side, and then up on the top, the Nemesis is coming in with Air Razor here, and it looks like some of the signs from the golden disc there, and Starscream over there. So it's peculiar box art for a Titan, because it's, in order to show him in both modes, they're really kind of doing two different scenes. Here we've got a big sheet of instructions. It shows the transformation of the Ark between both modes. It shows the few features that it happens to have, and it shows how Mainframe, the accompanying Mainframe, is able to transform as well. Some of the other accessories I'll show now, but some of them I can't yet because they're actually in Mainframe. Oh, we have 6 of these blast effects. They're in kind of a like tealy blue, deep tealy aqua blue color. It's weird. Pretty sure these are the same blast effects that came with Skylinks and Jetfire and Rodimus Prime. I'm okay with having these. Obviously, they can fit into different sections of the Ark itself. The teensiest of Optimus Primes. This one is all in red. just for fun's sake, there is that itty bitty Optimus Prime next to the deluxe Earthrise Prowl, so you can see kind of how big or how small in this case he really is. I mean, this is more micro than micro. Speaking of Optimus, our collector card is once again Optimus Prime. This is definitely the card I got the most in the Kingdom line. I got a ton of these, and this one, when you pull it back, is Dead Prime, which we looked at before as well. And so all of that sort of brings us to the Ark. And I say sorta because we're going to get a couple of things kind of clarified here with the Ark, and then we'll probably end up looking at Mainframe first. So, in package, this is mostly how he appears, except this section here and this section over here are not on. There's, you'll notice like a line going down and a little ridge going on in here. This slots in over. I assume I could take it. I'm not gonna try and take it off, but these two pieces need to go on, and then right here, it should be noted that you open out this section and you flip this out, close this section back up, and then to kind of hold solid all of this area here together, this comes over and comes down around. So that's the, I don't even know what you call it, but like it's a tail fin, I guess, I suppose. The bridge is up here, and interestingly, that is one of Mainframe's modes. He is technically the center of the ship and the bridge. And you can, if you look at the translucent, like on the front here and whatnot, you can kind of see that detailing in there, which I think is a really neat little nod. Now, that being said, you can also take Mainframe out, they say, at any time you want. I do find it to be a little bit of a chore, and here's why. Because, and I'm going to turn this around, in order to do that, you need to kind of start to unlatch this little triangular section here. That little triangular section likes to pop off on both sides of mine a lot. So let's look at a few ship features first. We have these little turrets. Unfortunately, none of these turrets rotate. What a bit of a bummer and oversight. Not huge, but it would have been nice if they did. Then we can come here and bring this down, and bring this down, and bring this up. Those are landing stabilizers. So you can actually have the Ark like this, which is cool. The only problem with the Ark like this, for my purposes, is this big open space here. I've heard of fillers for it, and I guess it's not a deal breaker, but it is kind of jarring that there wasn't a flap or something right there. A lot of people have mentioned that. Additionally, back here, there is a button. I just need to find it. There, little gray button right here, and it lowers this section of the Ark here, you know, so I guess if you want, you could have, hey, I'm Optimus Prime and I'm landing from the Ark. I don't even know if you can see him there because he's so itty bitty tiny, but I mean, you can do that. It's neat. However, that being said, I do find that this spring-loaded thing likes to kind of go off whenever it wants to go off. Now let's start to deal with the elephant in the room first, which is changes. Originally, the overall orange color was a deeper orange based on pictures we had seen. The battle damage was not as brown as it is here. It was a little more silvery. All of these yellow painted details were red, and the yellow translucent around the windshield wasn't there. It was blue. That being said, there's another piece inside that is also now a yellow translucent that was originally blue as well. And I would argue that it was more incorrect. I'm actually okay with this yellow on this guy. So in terms of this, in relation to the G1 show, it's close. There's no doubt that this is the Ark. The G1 did not have the spaces here on the side. It comes up really fairly uniform of a semicircle here. Then we have this flat part, and then the semicircle kind of continues up here. So like this semicircle should continue as a semicircle down here as well. Minor gripe. The Autobot symbols are where they should be. This piece is where it should be. Arguably, this shouldn't be here. There's a bigger piece that should be along right there. This gray is correct, really. Going up the bridge and the nose seems to be pretty much correct. I'm going to say it's a solid 9. It isn't a perfect arc, though from the back it's pretty perfect. It's a solid 9. It's a good looking arc. Now, all that being said, we'll do the transformation, and I'll actually, I'm saying 9 for an arc. We're going to talk about that with the robot mode and kind of see what that's an homage to, and we'll do this kind of strange mixed mark for the way he looks. Functional ship. I mean, again, when we say Titan, I think of cities and bases. I think of, the characters being able to interact with it a lot. We have that little Optimus that can, but I don't know. Considering how big the Ark is supposed to be to take a crew, there it is with deluxe class Prowl again. And if this was a ship for one, then Prowl's probably in scale, and you can pretend that the Ark is a ship for one, no doubt. If you want it to be a ship for a crew, well, it'd be better to use Micromasters or, things that are the scale of that little Optimus, or even some of the core legends might be okay. So I feel like this one struggles more to accommodate characters, and I know that the cities don't really accommodate the characters per se, but you can still kind of position them around Metroplex and around Fortress Maximus and Scorponok in such a way that, at least it's a base of operations. This, when you look at that comparison, at best, this is a one character ship. Okay, so for the transformation, hopefully this will work out well, because I have had a couple of pieces that have popped off as I've been doing it. So we'll see if it works or not. Fingers crossed. We're going to close this in, close that down. Actually, before the transformation, I'm going to try and get Mainframe out first. How did I forget about Mainframe? Which kind of starts the transformation. I have to undo that and undo the same on the other side there. Out of package, they are really, 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 really tight. Then this whole section here should be able to come off. And now this, pull that out and flip it back. There's the head. This all now should be able to lift up. We're going to close that in and fold it in. Close that in and fold it in. Now, we'll leave him like that, and we'll take a look at Mainframe first. Who, by the way, is right here. Okay, so here we have Mainframe. I can't believe I forgot this guy. I mean, you could leave him in the Ark's chest. You never have to take him out if you don't want. Mainframe doesn't need to exist in your world if that's the way you're inclined to be. In this mode, he's basically just a folded up glob of a block. And this is part of his backpack. And this is the bridge with a lot of little notches and whatnot to put little guys like that Optimus Prime, who's back here in the command center area. He just kind of goes down in, he has a little square, rectangular-y type of base. It goes down to a slot there. If you had other little micro lads like that, you could put them in here. You can put Optimus up here if you want. But the neat thing is, when this is inside the Ark, you can actually see this area through the windows. That's kind of cool. That's a nice design feature. This here, in the center, is a little yellow ball orb, basically. And this little yellow orb is the navigation globe. This navigation globe is patterned after Vector Sigma. And Vector Sigma was yellow, not blue. Originally, when the windows were shown as a translucent blue, this was also shown as translucent blue. Knowing that this is patterned after Vector Sigma, I'm glad it's yellow, because if that was blue now, that would bug me to no end. Easy to lose that. I would advise leaving it in there, certainly for the most part. That said, it does have a 5mm peg on it, so if somebody with a hand that has a 5mm peg, I guess could hold it. Speaking of which, here's Prowl with it, but I was incorrect. It's actually, I would say, a 3mm peg, not a 5mm, because I have it put in Prowl's hand, and there you go, it just falls out. So I would leave that in with Mainframe and call it good. Okay, so let's do the transformation here. We should be able to separate the arms from the legs. We bring the legs down and we straighten them down all the way. The guy's getting, you know, kind of tall. We will rotate the waist around and we will split the two legs, and I will adjust the camera ever so slightly. Just thought I could use a little more room up top. First thing to note is this can stay in there or you can take it out. It does tend to like to kind of fall out a little bit. This is the thing from the Ark that like went out and explored and scanned and gave everybody their new alt modes. I can't remember what it's called, but it's that thing that went out and said, like, you know, repair, and repaired them. You know, it is what it is. It can stay, like I said, back here on this. Maybe I will try leaving it there for the transformation. We'll see how it goes. It does like to come off, but I do think it's neat that it was included as part of the Ark. Trying to get this on now is a chore. I was putting it on upside down, so what do you want? You know, such is life. Take the arms out to the side there for now. We angle back this whole section on a hinge in here. It comes down. The head we pick up and we turn around. And now what's supposed to happen, and this is why I said this is hard, there's a couple of little notches here, and these gray pieces of the scanner thing should kind of fit in those notches as we close this in. Ooh, it did it really nicely that time. A lot of times it ends up falling out and you hear a rattle in his body. We bring down the arm here. We bring this over and bring out a hand and bring this back and then rotate the arm around. We come to this side and we bring this out, flip out a hand from that hollow section there, and then close this back up and rotate the arm around. And here you have Mainframe in his robot mode. And it's an alright transformation in terms of doing a transformation. It's simple. Now he still has the entire bridge on his back here, so that's a little weird. And this is definitely not Mainframe's colors. For those not in the know, Mainframe was an action master, and he was mostly blue. Like his torso was blue, his feet were blue, like I would say this grayish section was blue, and kind of up on his head where this gray was blue, his face was blue. So a lot of blue. And then like the upper arms here, they were red. Most of the legs were red, a touch of orange. The hands were gray. I mean, that's correct, I guess. The head sculpt is a nice head sculpt. If you know the character, it definitely looks like him. And guess what? His visor was like an orangey color, yellowy color, so the translucent orangey yellow for the eye visor is actually correct. We don't have his Action Master partner, push button? I think it's push button. He is kind of, like ready to go into battle and enthusiastic about it, whereas Mainframe here is, I've heard it described that he is a computer geek, both in that he loves computers and that he turns into a computer. We wouldn't have seen that in Action Masters. He didn't even have to have an alt mode there. I don't know if he ever would have actually, maybe he used to turn into a computer. No. And that being the case, with this guy, he actually has another mode, that being Teletran 1. He does, in fact, turn into a computer. So we're going to deal with that next. But before we do that, we're going to also look at his articulation, and we're going to give the scores to his look and his articulation. So the head goes left and right, the arm, that can go really all the way around, out to the side. The biceps is 90 degrees. We have a swivel there. Doesn't seem to be anything at the wrist, and I guess that makes sense because of how it works. I do find straightening out the arm with that piece behind it is a bit of a nuisance sometimes with the backpack. So a lot of times I'll leave it out to the side just to give a little added mobility to the arm. But that's completely personal preference. We do have a waist that is, because of the backpack in this it's weird. The waist is there for transformation, but it's sort of locked here. I guess if you pick the backpack off, you can get the waist a bit. It's weird. It's there for transformation, but you kind of lose it because of the transformation. It's very similar to, say, Kingdom Galvatron's bicep swivel. If you lock in the treads, then you lose the bicep swivel. So, I don't know, leave the backpack off ever so slightly like a cape. The legs can go all the way up to the side. Back a little bit because of the backpack. Forward all the way. Little over 90 degrees at the knee, to be honest with you. Thigh swivel and an ankle tilt? Got an ankle tilt, right? Yeah, we got a deep ankle tilt, sure. Thought we did. It's just a little tight on the hinge, but yeah, deep ankle tilt. So, in terms of the look for the guy, the only things that make this recognizable as Mainframe is the chest and the face, the head sculpt. The coloration is completely off. I'm gonna have to say 5. It's a neat Transformer, but it's a stretch to call it Mainframe. The articulation is all there. I think it's pretty good so far. In terms of size for the guy, here he is next to a Deluxe. One would think he is a Voyager. Is he a Voyager? Well, the mass sure says he is at 170 grams. Big Voyager. But he does have some of the accessories that store in him. So if you take that out, he might be a little bit less. But you know what? Yeah, he definitely falls in the range of Voyager. A 5 for the look is a rough start, but it's just because I think it's a stretch for the character. In terms of the articulation, wrist would be nice. Ease of waist would be nice. It's still pretty good. You're going to get pretty much everything you want, and he is solid on his feet. I'm going to say it is a good 8.75. So, there you go. We have an 8.75, and we have, say, a 5. Right now, the guy, 7-ish, I guess. What about the last mode being the computer? Well, we're going to take these arms up. We're going to flip these sections up and put that hand in, and flip this section up and put this hand in. For now, I'm just going to leave all of this here, like kind of loose for now. Then I'm going to flip out this piece, and honestly, here's the golden discs, which I find it very interesting that they're stored in here. We'll see those in a minute as well. Take those out. And you can fold out this side. This whole piece can come off. The head can go down. This will come up. Now, we got to deal with the lower legs, which is definitely the more interesting of the parts of this transformation for sure. Because the guy has to go somewhat flat, right? The legs very much unfurl and then open all the way out. The waist has to rotate around. That will come out all the way sort of like that for now. Actually, I apologize. That way. And that turns to the side. Over here, we unfurl the leg again. And open it out all the way again. And we turn this foot to the side again. The legs, there's a little tab right there and a notch right there. The legs, they go tab together, baby. And really we're going to kind of bend the knees so that we can notch this section in. So we sort of bend at the knees and notch that down. Then we come kind of behind the leg, and there's still one more flap in here. That flap comes up, and this one likes to pop off. But by rights, this flap comes up, and then we kind of push those flaps in to make part of the computer. And then finally, up top, we should be able to kind of line that up and line this up. And then the last part is like this little tab goes up into this section right here. It is a little bit of a nuisance to line it up. Not major, but a little bit. Especially once you have one side in. And once I tab everything in, this is what we have. It says that it's in scale with current generations, but like, I don't know, man. I feel like, gotta straighten up that arm there a little bit. I feel like this is a bit too small. I have another version of Teletran 1 that our buddy Dragonfly did for me, that's printed off. It's bigger. I feel like that will be my Teletran 1. However, that being said, this is most definitely a decent Autobot computer. It could certainly stand there. I wish the orange was a deeper orange than what we have here. I don't know if I feel like it's Teletran 1, but I do like the look of it and the detailing, especially in like some of the images that are on the screens, which I'll show a little bit closer. You can see that you have a map of the Ark. You have Earth over here. That looks like it's probably Vector Sigma up there. So, I like the readouts and detailing that's on the screens as well. I mentioned the golden discs. Well, this is one of them. Done very nicely. And on the other side, we have that, what is it, Sounds of Earth or Sounds of the Sea or whatever it is. That's one of the golden discs. The other one, as you would guess, looks very similar. But of course, on the other side, we have a bunch of different, inscriptions. A lot of people have wondered if Dinobot can hold this. Kind of, but not really. See what I mean? The grip of his claws, like when you actually close it like a hand, is just a little bit too wide to accommodate this. But if you kind of wedge it between the two smaller talons and then between like one of his main fingers, yeah, he can hold it. It's not the most elegant way of accomplishing it, but he can pull it off. And here we are kind of back here with the Ark again, but to kind of clue things up with Mainframe. So the look of the guy, like I said, wasn't the best. The articulation is pretty great. A couple of things that could be improved on. This transformation, I think, is sort of brilliant, actually. I really like it. And the back of it, just to be clear, looks like that. So, yeah, I kind of dig it, honestly. I'm going to say that the transformation is a 10. I think it is far simpler than I anticipated it being. And I think it's more enjoyable than I anticipated it being. And the fact that he becomes something sort of flat-ish is kind of amazing. He was getting somewhere around like a 7, 7.5. With the 10 for this, it's a solid 8, 8.5. Mainframe is great. I think it would be interesting if he was done as just a computer and maybe as like a mainline offering by himself in proper Action Master colors. But this is pretty cool. I like it, honestly. So taking him out of it, we're back now to the Ark, which the Ark itself was getting about a 9 for its look. We haven't done any more scores. So right now we have a 9 for the little guy, Mainframe, and a 9 going for the Ark. Overall now, the set is a 9. It's pretty great. Not perfect, but pretty great. So we have these folded in, as I said before. The head is right here. We have the kind of nose piece down here on the back. You can actually close that all up now if you're so inclined. And we come back here. In here, of course, is where we had Mainframe. We take the, I guess this section next. So, okay, so we'll open this up and we'll put this in next, like that. Then we should be able to take that up, fold this up, and bring it out. And if it's up all the way, it should come out all the way and kind of notch in. We do the same on the other side here. We bring this up, we notch it out all the way. Then this, we can even kind of bring down 4 now. It's not quite in place yet, but we'll just bring it down there like that for now. We take the arm here and should be able to rotate it up on a heavy ratchet. Some people have talked about that one sort of breaking or being too heavy. I mean, maybe, I don't know. We open out the hand and then we sort of extend the arm and bring it down. All of that's on ratchets, and we can even rotate this hand around, also on ratchets. What's really neat about the arm though is when you bring the hand out, this piece comes out to sort of fill in the back of the arm. I think that's really clever. I like it. I really, really like that. Obviously, we do the same thing on the other side. In the meantime, this piece here can go folded up in behind with those pieces out. And what will basically happen is there's sections here that these will lock into to kind of hold it in place once we get it down. And we have that done. The other arm, same thing. We turn it. This ratchet doesn't seem as heavy. We take the hand out, we extend the arm, and we rotate that hand around again. Whew, whew. Getting tired, man, getting tired. Okay, now comes the easy part, the legs. We really split the legs and why are you not splitting easily? And then we extend, there we go. We extend that one and we extend that one. This was why I left that space up top, because I knew the guy was going to get much bigger. We come down here and we bring out a toe and we turn the leg this way. We come down here and bring out a toe and we turn the leg this way. Okay, and then finally we rotate the ratcheted waist and behold, in the end, bring this thumb out I guess a little bit and this thumb out a little bit. Here we have the Ark in all of his Titany robot glory. Naturally, I need to adjust things a little bit. And here's a size comparison between the Ark and another Titan, that being Metroplex. You know, Fort Max would be this tall as well. The guy is, height-wise, the Ark is about a little bit bigger than Devastator, kind of Triptychon size. Little bit shorter than Scorponok. They say 19 inches, 18 to 19 inches. I would say if it's 19, it's right to the very tippy top of like the pylons there by his head. But don't think this guy is a slouch. The transformation is pretty excellent, honestly. Most of it is logical, makes sense. A couple of niggling little things like those triangle pieces that I talked about, though they didn't fall off this time, which is nice. The way the legs and the arms unfurl makes total sense. I'm going to say that the transformation is about a 9. That being said, we have to go back and look at the score for the look of the guy. I said that for the Ark it was a 9. But this guy bears, in robot mode, a striking resemblance to somebody else. That someone else is the Last Autobot. The head is a striking resemblance to it, with the yellow and the gray face and the look that's basically an Autobot symbol. Then we have kind of like his thighs and his hips and around like his abdomen and pelvis. That all seems very much like the Last Autobot. For those who don't know, he's considered the ultimate warrior, and he's considered like the soul of Cybertron, and He apparently was created by Primus when Primus could no longer kind of control his creations or guide them or guard them. He's like a last line of defense, right? Sometimes he's a member of the 13 known as Autonomous Prime. So he does have a lineage that makes him a part of the 13, which, if you know me, I've really been trying to amass a version of the 13. Obviously the lower legs are stylized. The feet here are gray, which is about right, but they should be more pointed. In terms of the arms are obviously very stylized. So this looks like the Last Autobot to a degree. A lot more, I'll say, silvery color on the Last Autobot, and I'm pretty sure that he actually turns in more to a plain a la Vector Prime. Like Vector Prime is also an homage to the Last Autobot, right? So the Last Autobot was huge, titanic. That's why this guy looks like him. And he did turn into a ship. This guy turns into a ship. It's just that the ship looks more like Vector Prime's ship. Last Autobot, Autonomous Prime, if you will, or is that what it was? Autonomous? Yeah, Autonomous Prime, or Autonomous Maximus, if you will. I'm sorry. Decent homage. If you know the Last Autobot and you see this face, you're going to say, hey, that's the Last Autobot. I'm going to say that's about a 7. So a 9 and a 7, it's about an 8 for his look. It's a 10 really, I think, or 9 I should say, for the transformation. So 8.5. What about the articulation for the guy? Well, the articulation has a head that goes left and right. We have a shoulder that is on a heavy ratchet but can go forward, back, all the way around. Arm all the way out to the side. Bicep swivel over 90 degrees. Wrist rotation on a ratchet. Base pin at the finger, so the fingers are not individually articulated. I think that's a bit of a bummer. Base pin at the thumb, so the thumb has to stay like that. He doesn't come with anything that would serve as like defense for the guy other than the blasters that's on him. Like there's nothing that's a blaster or a sword or anything like that. We have a waist on the guy. We have a hip clearly out to the side. The kick forward is there, all the way back, even further than that if you wanted. We have the thigh swivel built in the thigh, which I really dig. And we have a super deep knee. A bit of ankle tilt on the guy, not a ton, but a little bit, and we have toe tilt. Honestly, things are less how can I put this? Things are more free-flowing here than I expected. So I like that. I do wish that the head could look up and down instead of just going left and right this day and age. I wish that the fingers had at least the thumb had more articulation. I could live with the fingers, but I wish the thumb at least had more articulation. I'm sure that there will be like third-party kits for it and whatnot. Otherwise, I think all of the articulation is there. The guy was getting like a solid 8.5. I would say the articulation is still at 8.5. The guy overall is a solid 8.5. Definitely not the highest end Titan that we've gotten. As a matter of fact, more on the lower end Titans that we've gotten. But still sort of charming in and of itself. It won't be for everyone. I personally really dig the homage to the Last Autobot, so that's why I like this. Some other people are really going to dig it as the Ark itself, and they will like that. On the whole, an 8.5 for him, and a 9 for him. Overall score here, 8.75. Really great. And the thing that gives me the most joy is this. This is what makes me the most happy. This is my current crop of the 13, and it's inching ever closer to being done. As a matter of fact, there's more than 13 here because I've kind of extended things a little bit. If you hear some lapping, that's Tessa. She's having a drink while we're doing this review, you know? That's what happens sometimes. That's what happens sometimes when you got a puppy dog. Just saying. So we've already looked at, you know, my custom primer from the Protoform Optimus Prime from the movie, Vector Prime, who I mentioned earlier, Alpha Trion, Solus Prime. This is the MMC version. My Cronus right down front there. It's something that one of those Prime Masters actually got right. Alchemist right there, made from the Cyberverse body parts. My custom Nexus Prime. I don't have anything for Onyx yet, but I got some ideas I'm working on for Onyx. Amalgamus is a custom Revenge of the Fallen. He is now going to be Amalgamus because my Fallen, or my Megatronus down there, is the Make Toys Chaos Paladin now. My custom Quintus, Thrust, he will become my version of Liege Maximo. And the 13th Prime, usually Optimus Prime, sometimes that 13th Prime is the Ark, or if you will, the Last Autobot. Also kind of thrown in here, and based on like what I told you, there was like the Covenant version of the 13. In the multiversal 13, there's a couple of little differences. For example, Logos Prime, by rights it's the Cybertron Sound Blaster, but I used the Sound Blaster that came out as part of the like 35th anniversary. He's my Logos Prime. I made a custom Hell Buzzsaw to be with him. And Autonomous Maximus would be included. Also included, though I don't have any representation of them, is Solomus and Epistemus. So, I don't know. But, like, you know, Autonomous, cool, I guess. And then later on, there's also Adaptus, Mortalis, and sometimes Sentinel Prime is thrown in here as well. So, like, there is a little bit of disagreement on exactly who constitutes the 13. For me, I go by default being the Covenant, which means I needed the Liege and I needed Onyx. But you know what? I'm okay extending the courtesy, so to speak, to Logos Prime. And for anybody who doesn't approve of or like Optimus being the 13th Prime, that's a great place for the Last Autobot to fall in. I love the set. Honestly, overall, I think it is, as I said, a solid 8.759. It's a great set. Not perfect, but a great set. And here we are again, and here he is. So first things first, I love Mainframe. I think Mainframe makes a fine computer. I don't know if it's Teletran 1, but a fun robot. The bridge thing is a neat nod, but I mean, I don't really need an alt mode for Mainframe. Mainframe was an Action Master. I'm cool with that. It's a great Voyager. It's a solid Voyager. It's a fun Voyager. Then we have this guy. Nice Titan, no doubt about it. I don't feel like this guy's quite as interactive with other characters as the base bots are. Even if they need to kind of interact with those bases, not so much in a city way, but more like it's a base of operations, outpost type of way because of the size. With this, when I put a standard bot next to it, I think it might be able to hold one, like it could be a pod for one. I guess that's where Core Class and Legends come in, you know, and the little tiny, teeny things. I mean, he could take a bunch of those, you know. It's just that's not what works for me. I like him, but I think for me the bigger homage is him as the Last Autobot more than anything else. And I guess everybody needs to kind of decide for themselves, do they want an homage to the Ark? Do they want an homage to the Last Autobot? Do they not care about either? It's going to be different things for different folks. While I feel like a lot of the Titans are absolute gits, unless you really want the Last Autobot or you really want the Ark, I think that this guy isn't necessarily a git as much as a way to try and hold on to the size class of Titan and keep it going. That's just my take. I like him. I really do. I don't know if I'm as enthusiastic as with him as I've been with other Titans, because I don't have a connection to this guy the same way I do with Metroplex and Fortress Maximus and Trypticon and Scorponok, for example. I just don't have that same connection. So that probably detracts from my excitement level a bit, but he is absolutely solid. This shoulder is a little concerning. I've heard some QC issues, so you might, buyer beware, I suppose. But if you really want the last Autobot and or a version of the Ark, this guy will do you well, man. I'm just saying, this guy will do you well. Let me know what you think about the Titan class Ark. I appreciate you guys coming by, man, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us, and especially, don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference, man. And I look forward to the next time, baby, that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.